The day her company's revenue hit 1 million, my wife demanded a divorce. A broke loser doesn't fit into my new world. She didn't know that I was her secret client, the one generating 80% of her income. I cancelled everything during her celebration party, and her company collapsed in days. Now she's begging me to come back. If you don't come to the party, I'll tell your family you relapsed. My wife wasn't asking, she was threatening. I need a picture where you look happy. After that, you shut your mouth and stay in your corner. Like an idiot, I went. I stayed in my corner with a mineral water while she shone among the entrepreneurs. I heard her laugh from 5 meters away. My husband has a little office job, administrative paperwork, nothing important. Her laugh was perfect, practiced. Julian, an old colleague who is now a CEO, extended his hand to me. My wife intervened before I could shake it. She literally pushed my hand away with hers. Oh, Julian, don't confuse him. He just shuffles papers. He doesn't understand what we're talking about here. Julian looked at me with pity and walked away. Minutes later, I heard her bragging. I have an inside contact at the multinational who approves everything for me in 48 hours. I don't even know who it is, but it works perfectly. I was standing 2 meters away with my glass in my hand. She knew it. 3 years of blocking audits for her, 15 compliance processes filed away under my signature, with 1 million in contracts that I expedited for her. And in her speech, she thanked her tenacity, her vision, her sacrifice. Not a single word about me. I didn't exist. Half an hour later, she found me in the kitchen. I want a divorce. Direct, cold. I need someone on my level. Not some mediocre little employee. She crossed her arms. My lawyer is going to take the house you inherited. You're going to sign everything I put in front of you. She moved closer. Her $340 perfume made me nauseous. I've been sleeping with Rodrigo, one of my clients, for 6 months. A real man, not like you. She laughed in my face. You're a financial burden, did you know that? A dead weight. I locked myself in the bathroom. My phone vibrated. Approve renewal. Annual contract $840,000. From outside, her laughter carried. Celebrating. I opened the 3-tap app. Reject contract. Escalate for compliance audit. Confirm. I left through the back door. No one saw me go. Something broke inside me that night, something that wasn't coming back. And she didn't even notice. I woke up on Saturday around 10 a.m. in a hotel that smelled of old disinfectant and cigarettes, one of those cheap hotels where the carpet has stains you'd rather not investigate. My phone vibrated on the nightstand. A message from her. If you don't sign over the house you inherited, I'll report you for abuse. I already have the draft ready with details. Think it over. She attached a document. I opened it with trembling hands. 3 pages of fabricated accusations, specific dates, detailed descriptions of things that never happened. She had written it all as if it were real, as if it had actually happened. I got out of bed and ran to the bathroom. I vomited until only bile came out. I stayed there on my knees on the bathroom floor, my hands resting on the toilet bowl. The tile was cold. I could hear the street traffic through the window. I spent 2 hours sitting on that floor, paralyzed, my head spinning non-stop. How did we get here? At what point did everything become so twisted? When exactly did I stop mattering to her as a person? After those 2 hours, something changed. I got up, washed my face, and took out my laptop. I couldn't sleep that night. At 3 a.m., I was sitting on the bed with the laptop. The screen was the only light in the room. I connected to the home server remotely. I still had access. She hadn't thought to change the passwords. I started going through folders, documents, old files. And then I saw it. A hidden folder, exit strategy. My pulse quickened. The cursor hovered over the folder for a few seconds. Click. Drafted emails, Word documents. The first one was dated 2 months ago, 2 months before the $1 million party. As soon as the $840,000 contract is renewed, I'll ask him for a divorce and report him to get the house. He can't react because of the conflict of interest. Rodrigo says his lawyer can handle everything in less than 30 days. I read the email 3 times, then a 4th. Every word was a punch to the gut. She had planned it all. The party, the speech where she didn't mention me, the public humiliation in front of her business friends, the divorce, the false report, it was all there, written down months in advance. I stared at the screen for I don't know how long, 10 minutes, 20. The text started to blur. And then, I stopped feeling guilty. It was as if something switched off inside me. A switch that would never turn back on. This wasn't revenge, it was self-defense. On Monday, I walked into the office like any other day. Coffee, desk, screen. No one noticed anything different about me. I opened the compliance system. My rejection of the $840,000 contract had escalated automatically over the weekend. Status, mandatory review. Perfect. I opened the financial dashboard for Catherine Premier Events. The numbers never lied. The contract with us represented 45% of her total gross income, but here was the truly interesting part, it represented 90% of her net profit margin. I did the mental math. Without that contract, she had no liquidity to make payroll next month, to pay suppliers, to keep the lights on. I leaned back in my chair and smiled for the first time in days. Then I checked the metadata of the files on the server. Our first official date had been 2 days before she signed her first small contract with the multinational, a $12,000 contract that I had approved without much thought at the time. I searched my personal calendar. The 3 casual dates before our official relationship had all been at cafes 2 blocks from my office. All 3. It wasn't a coincidence. She had targeted me from the beginning, before I even knew her full last name. I downloaded the 47 emails where she had asked for special favors during our marriage, express reviews, off-protocol approvals. Each one initiated by her, each one approved by me like a fool in love. 3 years of documented evidence of preferential treatment. That afternoon, I was working at the hotel when someone banged on the door. Loud, insistent. "Open up, you coward. I know you're in there." Her voice, filled with pure rage. She had tracked me with the credit card before I blocked it. I silently took out my phone. I opened the voice recorder. I let her continue. "I'm going to destroy you. My lawyer is going to leave you on the street. You're going to lose everything, you spiteful piece of." More bangs on the door. "I'm going to ruin you. Open up." I recorded a full 5 minutes of threats. Then I called hotel security. I heard them take her away, screaming down the hallway. On Tuesday, I went straight to Human Resources as soon as I got to the office. "I'm here to formally declare my divorce situation and to sign a recusal due to conflict of interest." The coordinator, a woman in her 50s, looked at me, confused. "Recusal from? What, exactly?" "I'm the regional director of acquisitions. My wife, from whom I am divorcing, is a direct supplier to the company. I am voluntarily removing myself from any decisions related to her company to avoid any conflict." Silence. She stopped typing on her computer. "Wait, your wife didn't know you were her primary approver?" "No. I always signed as procurement department. It's standard company protocol." The coordinator jotted everything down in her notebook. "This is unusual, very unusual. I'm going to have to escalate this immediately. I understand perfectly. Here is my written and signed declaration." The next morning, she sent an email to 5 company directors, including my direct boss. Subject: sabotage out of personal spite, formal complaint. She accused me of rejecting her contract for personal revenge, of abuse of power, of discrimination against female entrepreneurs. My boss forwarded the email to me with a single line, "What the hell is this?" I replied calmly. I already filed my formal recusal with HR on Tuesday. I am completely removed from the case due to a declared conflict of interest. Any review is being handled by the corresponding department as per protocol. An hour later, my boss replied to her email, copying all the directors. Ms. Premier, we are already aware of the situation thanks to the transparency and voluntary recusal filed by our employee. We are proceeding according to regulatory compliance protocol. The audit will be conducted by independent personnel with no relationship to the parties involved. On Thursday, I received the email I had been waiting for. The case had been assigned to Patricia Morales, the auditor. In the company, they called her that because in 4 years, she had never, ever let a single irregularity slide. 3 suppliers had been permanently delisted under her review in the last 2 years. One of them had tried to pressure her with political contacts and ended up with a criminal charge for attempted bribery. Patricia didn't negotiate, didn't take calls from friends, didn't care who you knew. I got up from my chair, went to the coffee machine, and poured myself a black coffee, no sugar, for the first time in weeks. I slept well that night. The first blow came on Wednesday afternoon. Patricia officially marked the invoices from Catherine Premier Events as disputed in the ERP system. The system automatically sent a notification to my ex's company, payment withheld due to pricing discrepancies detected in compliance audit. I was at my desk when it happened, drinking coffee, checking emails like any other day. She didn't call me yet. I guess she still believed I was just a little paper pusher. Instead, she called the company's main reception. This is the owner of Catherine Premier Events. I need to speak with accounts payable urgently. It must be a system error. I need you to release the funds manually. The receptionist followed protocol to the letter. Ma'am, the account is under a formal audit status. Only your assigned compliance officer can unblock it. We cannot intervene. I heard later that she hung up without saying thank you. By Thursday, her suppliers started calling. The meat guy, the wine distributor. They wanted to get paid. They all had overdue invoices. She lied to all of them. The multinational has a system delay. It's a technical glitch. They'll pay tomorrow for sure. They already confirmed it with me. She was just buying time. That same Thursday afternoon, she contacted a secretary on my floor, a young woman she got along with when we used to go to company parties together. She told her version of the story, that her resentful husband was blocking payments because she asked for a divorce, that it was economic violence, that I was abusing my power to destroy her. By Friday morning, the looks in the office changed. Murmurs in the hallway, people stopping their conversations when I walked by. The social pressure started to rise like boiling water. I remained stoic. Arrive, coffee, desk, work, leave. I didn't say a word to anyone. Julian called me that Friday around 11 a.m. She had manipulated him well. Hey, man, look, I know you're hurt about the divorce. We all get it. But you can't mix personal stuff with professional business. You're withholding her money, and that affects her suppliers. It's not right. I took a deep breath before answering. Julian, I formally recused myself from the case 4 days ago. It's all documented with HR. It's not me blocking her, it's internal audit because her prices are inflated by 20% compared to the market. Patricia Morales is handling the case. Silence on the other end. She didn't tell me that. His voice changed completely. She used me. Yes, she used you. Julian hung up without another word. That afternoon, Friday around 6 p.m., I received a call from an unknown number. I answered. Listen to me carefully, you little office worker, a deep male voice said. Rodrigo. Release the check at once, or I'm going to come find you personally at that dump of a hotel. Stop being a bitter, resentful child and sign whatever you have to sign. I leaned back in my chair, smiling. Rodrigo, this call is being recorded on a corporate company phone. You just threatened the director of the multinational that competes with your company. Would you like me to send the full audio to your company's legal department? I can have it on their desk in 20 minutes. Silence. He hung up instantly. Coward. On Saturday, one of the waiters who worked her events called her. He hadn't been paid for the previous week. He needed the money. I wasn't there, but I found out what happened later from a mutual friend. She screamed at him, "You work when I say you work. You want to get paid? Go ask your parents for a loan, you beggar." She hung up without remorse. The waiter quit that same night and started talking. The catering scene is small, everyone knows everyone. By Monday, her suppliers cut off her credit. All of them. The meat, the wine, the flowers, the glassware. She had 3 events confirmed for that week with no supplies. She had to go to the supermarket herself and buy with her personal card, medium quality meat, boxed wine, the cheapest plastic trays she could find. She was draining her own capital, burning through her own money just to survive. On Tuesday, she tried something clever. She started sending new invoices for smaller amounts, less than $5,000 each. She thought she could avoid Patricia's automatic review that way. A smurfing tactic, breaking up the amounts to fly under the radar. But Patricia's system was smarter than that. It detected the pattern. Multiple fractional invoices from the same supplier in a suspicious time window. They were blocked automatically. The trap failed. Patricia sent her a formal email that same Tuesday afternoon. Dear MS. Premier, to proceed with the release of withheld funds, we require the original invoices from your primary suppliers to cross-reference your declared margins. Deadline for submission, 24 hours. Failure to comply will result in the case being escalated to corporate legal. I was copied on the email. Patricia had included me for information only, not for approval. I closed my laptop and went home. I knew what was coming. She didn't have those invoices. She couldn't have them, because the margins she had declared were a lie. She had inflated the costs by 20 to 25% to keep more profit for herself. She panicked. She downloaded a free PDF editor and forged the documents. She put her personal email on them, changed the dates on old invoices, inflated the purchase amounts, and adjusted the totals to match what she had declared. On Tuesday night, she uploaded the falsified documents to the supplier portal. She sent me a text at 11 p.m., I fixed everything with the auditor. Get ready to pay for lawyers with what I'm going to take from you in the divorce. I didn't reply. On Wednesday morning, Patricia reviewed the files. She opened the properties of each PDF. The metadata was clear, edited with I love PDF, Tuesday, 10:47 p.m. The supposedly original invoices were from months ago. The dates didn't match. Patricia flagged the entire file with a red code, fraudulent submission. She called my internal extension. I need you to come to my office. There's something you need to see. I went. She closed the door behind me. Your ex-wife just committed document fraud. The files are edited, the dates are fake. This is no longer just a contractual compliance issue. It's a crime. She showed me the screen with the metadata. Legal has to see this. Are you prepared for what's coming? Yes. Good. Because this is about to explode. Legal cross-referenced the data that same day. When they started digging deeper because of the fraud, they found something no one had seen before. My ex's company shared a fiscal address with the company of Rodrigo, the lover. A conflict of interest between cross-suppliers. One of the most serious violations of the supplier code of conduct. Checkmate. Wednesday night, she checked the supplier portal from her home. Status, account permanently suspended. Contact corporate legal. She lost her mind. She drove to my hotel, arrived screaming, and broke my car's windows with something heavy, a rock, a pipe, I don't know what it was. I was inside the room. I called the police, recording everything from the window. 2 patrol cars arrived. They took her away in handcuffs. They filed a full report, damage to private property, disturbing the public order. On Thursday morning, blinded by rage and convinced I was the sole culprit for everything, she played her last card. She sent an email to the company's ethics committee, with 5 directors copied, demanding my head. She accused me of abuse of power, gender discrimination, economic violence, and undeclared conflict of interest. She claimed I had used my position as an acquisitions employee to destroy a successful female entrepreneur out of personal spite. I read the email on my phone while drinking coffee at the hotel. She still didn't know. She didn't know I wasn't just a low-level employee. She didn't know Patricia had already flagged the file as fraud. She didn't know legal already had the conflict of interest with Rodrigo documented. She didn't know she had just signed her own death warrant. The ethics committee meeting was scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. Everything was ready. I just had to show up. My finger was on the trigger. Friday, 2 p.m., executive floor conference room. I arrived 15 minutes early. I sat outside, dark gray suit, navy blue tie, coffee in hand. At 2 sharp, I saw my ex arrive. High heels, expensive suit. She walked with that arrogance I knew so well. She also entered the room without looking at me. I waited 5 more minutes. Then I went in. She was sitting on the left side of the table, alone, arms crossed. The legal director was in his chair. Patricia was to his right with a thick folder. There was an empty chair at the head of the table. She saw me enter and frowned. "What are you doing here? Did they bring you in as a witness?" She laughed. "Perfect. This way you can watch them fire you." I didn't answer her. I walked to the head of the table. I sat down. The color started to drain from her face. "What are you doing there?" Her voice changed. It was no longer arrogant, it was confused. I placed my folder on the table. Slowly, I opened the first page. "Hello." I looked her straight in the eyes. "I am the regional director of acquisitions, and I rejected your contract." Absolute silence filled the room. She stared at me as if she couldn't process what she had just heard. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her hands were trembling on the table. "But she stammered. "You just did paperwork." "No. I approved or rejected contracts up to millions of dollars. I signed as procurement department for security protocol. You never asked who I really was." Patricia intervened, her voice professional. "Ms. Premier, there is an error in your formal complaint. The person you accuse of being an administrative employee is, in fact, a director with full contractual authority." She tried to attack. "This is a conflict of interest. He sabotaged me because of the divorce." I took a document from my folder and slid it across the table. My formal recusal, signed and registered with HR 4 days before Patricia initiated the audit. I voluntarily removed myself from the case. I am completely clean. The legal director spoke up. "Ms. Premier, during the audit, we detected 2 serious irregularities. First, document forgery. The files you uploaded to the portal were edited last Tuesday at 10:47 p.m. The metadata is irrefutable evidence." She turned even paler, if that was possible. "Second irregularity, unfair competition. Your company shares a fiscal address with the company of Rodrigo Mendez, another supplier to the multinational. That directly violates our supplier code of conduct. I took out my second folder, thicker than the first. 47 emails. I placed them on the table. Where you asked for preferential treatment. Express approvals, off-protocol reviews. All initiated by you. All documented. Her lawyer, an older man who had been silent until now, tried to intervene. My client. The legal director cut him off. Your client committed document fraud. That is a criminal offense, not just a contractual breach. She stood up, her hands pressed against the table. I built this alone. I worked day and night. You ruined me out of spite. This is revenge. I stood up slowly. I looked down at her. No. You ruined yourself. I just stopped saving you. I walked out of the room, closing the door behind me. Through the glass, I saw her collapse into her chair, the lawyer trying to calm her, Patricia explaining the next steps of the process. I didn't stay to watch more. Security escorted her out of the building 20 minutes later. The lobby cameras recorded everything, her screaming threats, saying she was going to sue the company, that she knew important people, that this wasn't over. No one paid her any mind. The next 7 days were a perfect domino effect. Without the multinational's contract, which represented 90% of her net margin, she couldn't pay her suppliers. They all cut her off immediately. The bank learned of the corporate fraud investigation and froze her business accounts as a preventive measure. She had to cancel 6 confirmed events. Furious clients, lawsuits for breach of contract. Her reputation in the catering sector was destroyed. The divorce proceedings were faster than she expected. The judge reviewed the police report of the destroyed car, the hotel recordings, the documented fraud investigation from corporate legal, the emails where she threatened false accusations. He denied any form of alimony. I kept my inherited house. Division of assets, 0 for her, because everything was in my name before the marriage. Her lawyer tried to fight it, it was useless. On the last Friday of that month, she called me. 11 p.m. I answered, I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe. She wasn't crying. She didn't apologize. She didn't beg for love. She manipulated. If you don't stop this, I'm going to the press. I'll say you hit me, that you abused me psychologically. I will destroy your career. Are they going to believe you, or a female entrepreneur who's a victim of gender-based violence? Her voice was cold, calculated, as if she were reading from a script. I took a deep breath. I have the full security videos from the hotel lobby. I have the police report where you destroyed my car. I have your emails threatening me with false accusations. I have the fraud investigation signed by corporate legal. I have the recordings of your threatening phone calls. A pause. Do whatever you want. No one is going to believe you. I hung up. I blocked her on everything. Phone, email, social media. Forever. 2 months later, I heard from Julian that she had closed the company. Total bankruptcy, debts to suppliers she could never repay. Rodrigo left her when the scandal exploded. He didn't want to be tainted by the fraud. She tried to start over with a new business name. No one gave her credit, no one wanted to work with her. The industry is small, and people talk. I stayed in my position. I was promoted to VP of Operations 6 months later. More responsibility, better salary. An office with a window. Sometimes, when I drink my coffee in the morning, I think about that party night, about how she laughed with her friends while I held my glass of mineral water in the corner. You're a financial burden, she had told me. Turns out, I was the only asset she had, and she lost everything when she lost me. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. 14 months have passed since that boardroom meeting. Her company officially closed a month after that. Total bankruptcy. The suppliers never recovered their money. There were lawsuits. She won some, she lost most. It didn't matter much. She had nothing to pay with anyway. Rodrigo disappeared as soon as the scandal reached his door, he blocked her calls, and she never heard from him again. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. No alimony, no division of assets. She tried to appeal twice. The judge rejected both. I stayed in my position. The company valued that I had recused myself in time, that I had acted with transparency. 6 months later, they promoted me to VP of Operations. Better salary, better office, less stress than before. I saw her 3 months ago. I was walking downtown after work. I passed by a small competitor's catering shop, one of those medium-sized companies that do small corporate events. She was inside. I saw her through the glass, a resume in her hand, talking to the manager, trying to convince him of something. I know the owner of that company, we've worked together on some projects. I could have gone in. I could have said a word to get her hired, or to get her blacklisted forever. She saw me. From inside, our eyes met for a second. I saw something in her eyes. Hope, maybe, or fear. She was waiting for me to do something, anything, hate or help. I did nothing. I gave a slight nod, the way you nod to a stranger on the street, and kept walking. I didn't look back. That night I came home, my home, the one I inherited from my parents that she could never take from me. I made myself a simple dinner, pasta with tomato sauce, toasted bread, a cold beer. My dog, the one she had said I could keep as if it were a consolation prize, was lying at my feet while I ate. There was no $1 million bonus, no celebration party, no triumphant moment with fireworks. Just silence. I lay down on the couch after dinner. I put on something on Netflix that I didn't pay attention to. The dog jumped up and settled next to me. For the first time in 3 years, I slept without fear. No fear of an explosive email arriving, no fear of a surprise audit, no fear of waking up to find that everything I had built had collapsed because of a favor I shouldn't have granted. The silence was the victory. And for the first time in years, no one could ruin anything for me. Not even her. I've been in therapy since then, once a week. It helps me process everything, to understand why I didn't see the signs. Why I trusted so blindly. I don't trust like I used to. Maybe I never will again. Some days it still hurts to think that 3 years of my life were a lie from the beginning. But I'm okay. Better than okay. Sometimes I wonder if I should have done something different. If I should have warned her from the beginning that I knew who she was to me, if I should have resigned when we started dating to avoid all this. But then I remember her smile when she called me a financial burden in front of all her friends. I remember the email where she planned to falsely report me. I remember how she smashed my car windows when she lost control. And I stopped wondering. Reddit, do you ever regret not being crueler to someone who betrayed you? Or is silence revenge enough?